So let's do an outside tour of our property. We got a nice long driveway, pretty secluded, although we're not entirely sure if it's our driveway or not. Our property is on both sides. We have buildings on both sides of it, but people seem to be able to walk up and down if they like. I think France's laws are a little different when it comes to driveways and private property and that kind of thing. Our front garden, and I use that term loosely, is also in desperate need of attention and clawing back. But that will wait till autumn, I think, because it gets pretty hot out front of the house and not somewhere you want to be working when the sun is shining in one of these European heat waves. The barn is one of the first things that we're going to have to start working on, and I think it's pretty clear why. And as I've said previously, it's like we just arrived. Behind me is packing material still left from our boxes when we came from Canada almost, no, more than a year ago. Our barn seems to be a hold all for all the things that we don't know how to deal with, including a lot of kindling, a lot of twigs, a lot of firewood, and a lot of good intentions. So I've never actually gone deep into this corner of the barn. It is very interesting, but there's a lot happening on the ground here and, snakes, rats, that kind of thing. I am really excited to really dig into this corner and pull out all the different treasures from, it looks like a couple of centuries back. But that's a big job and too big for today. It will wait till a future episode. Meanwhile, though, it actually really gives me comfort knowing that people have been abandoning their stuff in this barn for decades, generations. It's not just me. And into the main murder shed because something at some point had to have been murdered in here, human or animal. And nothing sinister at all. We've got feeding troughs and tie rings. So this was a stable probably for cattle and nothing more sinister than that. Too bad. And yet another discarded wine bottle, unsurprisingly, not the first we found on the property. You're gonna go for a smell. Oh, paint thinner.
Yeah, not alcohol.
Nope. Oof. Okay. Well, maybe it started as paint thinner. I don't know. Okay.
Now we know.
It's a pretty old bottle, though. Just going to move around to the back of the shed now to a forested area and the smaller sort of auxiliary shed behind it. Behind me, there's another old ruin that we found when we were digging away brush. It's remains of some kind of building, probably dating back older than the house, we think. So we're probably talking 400, 500, 600 years maybe. I hope we can uncover that as well, and I can do my ivy removal magic in there. But well, first we have to get to it, and it is well protected by a mass of stinging nettle. And that stuff is intense and it's mean. And there is the open door to the secondary murder shed, manslaughter shed. We think this was a couple of stables, but honestly, we've never made it in there because until we get the weed whacker, it is impassable because the stinging nettle is so stingy that it goes right through your clothes. I'm going for it with the weed whacker. I want to get rid of the stinging nettle so we can get inside the shed. I literally burned my hand on stinging nettle when I bent down to pick up the weed whacker just now. So pro tip, put on your gloves before you pick up the equipment. All right, now it's time to bring in the big guns and switch to the hedge trimmer. I'm going in. I have successfully unearthed a good chunk of our ruin with the ivy. Oh, it's so dead, it's not even a big deal to pull off. So I'm going to indulge my ivy fetish just enough to open this up and enjoy it. I hope the ivy's not the only thing keeping it upright. Okay, I don't want to pull the whole thing down on me. Okay, so I am done, I think, for today. Typical for me, something fairly small and manageable has become something a lot bigger and a multi day project. My plan was to do just a simple tour of the grounds, but the tour turned into, oh, I got to remove the stinging nettle before I can get in the door. Well, now that the stinging nettle's gone, I need to cut back the blackberries. Well, I need to cut everything back so there's room. And oh, look, a ruin! Ivy! I must get the ivy down. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And now I'm dirty and tired, but happy with the path I've cleared. It would be nice someday to convert this into an Airbnb, extra accommodation, art studio. There's so many things, but everything's a someday here, and it's just one step at a time. And finally, after all of that clipping and weed whacking and pulling, we can go in and see what's there. And really not a lot. It looks like another stable, maybe sheep, something small, but really not very haunted this time. I used the tripod to put my phone up into the attic for a quick look around, just checking for skeletons, buried treasure, nothing to see here. These sheds are less murdery than the others. This is our propane tanks for our stove and some mystery electrical stuff that I suppose we should figure out at some point. So I'm no gardener, but if I were someone who were a gardener or someone who dreams of being a gardener, which I kind of do, this space behind me at the end of the house would be where I'd put in an herb garden. So at the very least, I'd like to clear it and see the edging and see the ground, and maybe I'll get inspired and plant something. I don't have great history with living things. Quite frankly, we're surprised the kids made it as far as they did, but there's always hope. We have a lot of pasture as well that we rent out to local farmers for grazing their cattle. We don't actually know how to collect the money or who the farmers are. It's somewhere in the pages and pages of our purchase agreement. We do know that it's not for very much money, so we haven't really prioritized it yet. Here behind the house, we have what used to be a gazebo that now is just being swallowed up by the jungle of our yard and will need to come down. And last but definitely not least, the pool is basically why we chose this house. We've got, as I said, a son with a disability, and we knew that would keep him happier than anything in the world. And us too. I've always dreamed of having an in ground pool, and I knew that heat waves in Europe are more and more of a thing, and I wanted to be ready because air conditioning is not a thing here, and we got to keep cool. So the thing we really like about this pool, aside from like it being a pool, is the telescoping plexiglass cover. Not only does the cover keep the rain and wind off on cooler days, but on warm days, it traps the heat in there and saves us a lot of energy for heating the pool. Just like on the rest of the property, though, there are tasks to do in the pool area as much as anywhere else. And that's home. Next week, I'll be digging out the barn and excavating the treasures that lie within. Thanks for watching.